Hey everyone, what's going on? I Venom here with a new video. This is gonna be a bit more different than my usual gaming videos, but of course, you get to have some Elden Ring gameplay on the side. But what I wanted to talk about today is a topic that's been going on for, about a year or so in regards to manga and American comics. And I've seen a tons of videos of why manga is better than American comics. And you've already heard it all. I'm not here to dispute that. We've already seen how in the sales charts, manga is dominating American comics. And so many of us have our reasons as to why that may be the case. And most of them are all indisputable. I mean, look at the big two, for example. I'm not saying Image Comics and IDW Comics, Dark Horse Comics, they don't bring out any good stuff. But the big two is seen as the standard because they're the ones that pretty much, they're the biggest comic companies, so to speak. So when you have all the creatively bankrupt nonsense that DC and Marvel put out in regards to like gender swaps, race swaps, and just rehashes of old storylines that don't even do it as good or don't do anything really different than those storylines that came before, and the constant reboots, the number ones, you know, all the political and creatively bankrupt nonsense. That's what's keeping American comics back from realizing the even more potential they could have. And I think they do have it only in this sense. And this is the real reason manga trumps American comics right now. And it's been trumping it for over a decade in terms of how many people actually read, American comics and manga since like the late 2000s and for a majority of all the 2010s. It's indisputable. And the reason is this that nobody will admit: mangas end. American comics, particularly the big two comics, don't. And that's the reason manga will win every single time, even if it's not sales wise. That's the reason that nobody wants to bring up. And the biggest people that are bringing them up, like the reasons for why manga is better and why they're winning, they tend to be American comic book aficionados, lovers, and pros. And it's great that they like manga and comic books. I mean, they're essentially the same thing, except one comes from America and one comes from Japan. But they never seem to touch on the aspect that American comics are just too goddamn long. And I say that as a reader of Batman comics heavily. Like, I adore Batman. That's my favorite superhero. He's the fucking man. And it's ironic, this is the thing. Batman has inadvertently become the one that's pretty much shouldering all of DC. Batman is carrying DC on his back and the Bat family's back. As of recent, Batman books are pretty much the only ones that show up in, the rankings for the bestsellers in comics. And that's not a good thing because that's just oversaturation of the Bat market. Like, it's like having Joker in every other movie. It's like, stop, please. And this is somebody that adores Batman. This is somebody that adores Joker, the relationship, their characterization, and, the development and the stories that come from them. But let's take, for example, Batman RIP and just Morrison's overall Batman run. Barely any Joker in there. One of the most godlike and defining arcs and runs of Batman ever, probably in recent memory. Probably over Snyder's run. Okay, Scott Snyder's run, who also wrote some amazing stuff. Even pre-New 52. But it's just too much. Too much Batman. Even in the animated movies, everyone says that. Everyone says that. Too much Batman. Like, oh, God, another Batman movie. It's like they don't do anything else. Like, DC's face became Superman to Batman. And it's ironic considering the company's name is honestly DC and what, Detective Comics. So it's come full circle, and now he's the one, he's the face. He's the main guy. It's not Superman anymore. And it's also kind of telling because of the times. Batman is not the type of character Superman is. Always hopeful, You get it. You already get it. You know what type the excuse me, the contrast between Batman and Superman. So, yeah, there's just too many of them. And Marvel doesn't have this issue. One of the only things Marvel doesn't have issues on so far. And that's, having a variety of characters in their top sellers. And that's good. Marvel's always been known for having so much variety in their characters and villains. Though, of course, this is another reason. They have a lot of variety in heroes, which leads to this too. Marvel and DC have this issue where they just cannot kill their fucking villains, and if they don't kill them, they become good guys or anti-heroes and such. It's like, God, there's no progress. There's never any progress, and then when there is progress, they just have to go back. It happens all the time, and this is the problem with American comics. The big two, DC and Marvel, they need to end their most well-known IPs. I know they're like, no, they can't do that. I mean, they're fucking American icons. They're global icons. They've been like that for decades, nearly 100 years. Yeah. But Dragon Ball was iconic even when it ended. Dragon Ball had ended for nearly 20 years. It was over with some one-off stories here and there, like maybe, most of it that was keeping it propped up was the games and the reruns on American TV and of course globally, and re-releases of the story and everything. But for the most part, it was over. I mean, it was done. The canon storyline was over. And then, of course, they brought it back. We have no idea when it's going to end. And I'm one of the people that think it doesn't need to end until they creatively, get everything out of their system. Because there's a multiverse in fucking Dragon Ball now. And there's just so much going on that they can do so much with that fucking story. Especially with it going full cosmic, which is one of my favorite aspects about it. And Marvel Comics as well. And to an extent DC, but then again, I read more Batman than I do a variety. See, even I only read so much different stuff. In Marvel, I'm more prone to read different stuff. I love Hickman and his Fantastic Four run. I didn't finish his Avengers run, but I read quite a bit of it. I think I have all of it though. I also have the Marvel Cosmic from 2000, starting with Annihilation, ending with, I think, the Realm of Kings. I think it's Realm of Kings. I forget. There's like 3 big-ass books, to be fair. Omnibuses. Cost a lot of money. But there's just so much that they can do. I do think it should end at some point. But again, Dragon Ball was iconic. They can still do things with these characters. They just need to end their stories. They because they don't end, they get trapped. They get trapped in this loop of just doing the same shit over and over and over again, where they just can't do anything anymore with the character. They explored everything that they could. That's why these series need to end. Batman needs to end. Superman needs to end. Spider-Man needs to end. Holy hell, one of the biggest atrocities that's happened to Spider-Man's character is that these fucking losers that read the damn comics cannot let this man succeed. And this is the problem. Spider-Man was on his way. He already had a company. He was finally, all of his hard work paid off. He was still having some girl issues here and there, but then all of a sudden we get back to this whole, Peter Parker's a fucking loser and all this stuff. And to be fair, I haven't read this shit since the fucking new Clone Saga after Secret Wars. But from what I remember, all these fucking Spider-Man books, there's too many Spider-Man books, there's too many fucking Batman books. These two characters, they just give everything to everyone, and they just make too many damn books, and they can't concentrate it into at least maybe 2 or 3 max. They just can't do it for some reason, because they're just too adamant about giving it to everyone else. And they can't do it. They can't do it. Peter, even after that One More Day nonsense, which was ironic that they put it in the movie, but hey, they did it well in the movie. In No Way Home, in a certain way, it was One More Day. But Peter should not have been downgraded back into being a fucking struggler and loser. I'm sorry, but that's not how writing goes. You can't do that. You can't do that. This isn't fucking Berserk. And even then, I'm being exaggerative with Berserk. Which is, it's nice that, of course, Berserk is mentioned here. We got some Elden Ring gameplay here in the back. But I digress. They need to end. The stories need to end. They're too fucking long. The perks of being a manga reader is that these stories actually do have a conclusion and we're not boggled down with too much mythology and history and crossover events and reboots. Like, that's the thing. Those are issues that are happening in American comics and that have been happening because they're just too fucking long. I'm glad that they haven't ended just yet because we still got some great stories. But we need an end before this decade. It needs to end. And I mean, they're making sure of that with all the dumbass decisions that they're pulling off, you know? And they're pretty much dying, which is a good thing, but they need to end. The comics, at least. They can do all the movies they want. I don't really give a shit. Or video games, or, you know, whatever. Just end the canon stories. Just end the stories, please. My Hero Academia, it's about to end more than likely this year. Jujutsu Kaisen, ending in about 2 years. Chainsaw Man, ending in about maybe 2-3 years. Dr. Stone just ended. Fire Force just ended. Soul Eater, over. Naruto, kinda over. One Piece is about to end in like 3-4 years. I know it's been going on a lot, but you have anime and manga people that don't even, never mind the art style, don't want to get into One Piece because it's too fucking long. They won't do it. Another series that's too long. That's very long. Hajime no Ippo. Hajime no Ippo should have been over, but it's still ongoing. Over 100 volumes. Over 1,000 chapters. What, you know the biggest complaint? It's too long. So how do you think readers are gonna feel when you have nearly 100 years of fucking writing and history of American comic books? It's a no-brainer. Nobody wants shit that's too long. People call for things to end all the time. Look at the Walking Dead TV show. Why is it still going on? Should be over. The comic book is over. And see, that's the good thing about indie comics, that they fucking end, except Spawn, which Spawn should also end. That's that one. And Savage Dragon, I think, is still going on. Fucking comics should be over. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I know they still make stories. Over. Make it happen. Readers, don't get sucked into this never-ending cycle. It needs to be over. Berserk hadn't ended, but that's because there were so many complications with, like, the Miura's health, and sometimes he just was taking breaks. But it's happened a lot. Another one that's getting an anime that you guys should be hyped for, that's tied for greatest manga of all time besides Berserk, Bastard. The new anime is dropping, but you know, that series didn't end because the fucking author had 2 heart attacks and also diabetes. I know, sucks, but the lives of mangakas are pretty hard too. Takahiko Inoue, renowned slam dunk author, wrote Vagabond. Real. Vagabond hasn't been happening and hasn't ended because just some health issues as well, as if I remember correctly. The only other manga that's still ongoing that I know that's the longest is Go-Go 13, but the author died. At least that one is like episodic and it's like whatever. But still, I don't think Go-Go 13 should continue forever. These stories need to end, guys. Just let them fucking end. Even Dragon Ball is being called to be over at some point. Like I mentioned earlier, I want it to end too. I just want it to end. I don't want it to end prematurely. Which is a funny thing to say for Dragon Ball. They need to just do however much they can and then just end it. It just needs to happen. It needs to fucking happen. That's pretty much the gist of this video. The real reason nobody wants to admit that American comics get slam dunked on by fucking manga. Yu Yu Hakusho, over. Hunter x Hunter, not over because of Togashi's health. Bleach, kinda over. It's probably gonna come back for one more arc, but it's going to end. See, even when they come back, they end. Saint Seiya, it's kind of been over. There's been spin-offs and shit. Main story, over. It's okay. A lot of these mangakas get trapped into still writing for the franchise, and they write other stories in the franchise, but hey, it's whatever. Gundam, main canon storyline pretty much over. They do alternate universes, which is cool, I guess. The franchise probably will never be over, but the main canon storyline over. So at least you can just hop into other stories and, you know, not have issues with. Cowboy Bebop, over. Trigun, the actual manga, over. Gunslinger Girl, over. One Punch Man will eventually end. Mob Psycho 100, over. 666 Satan, over. Full Metal Alchemist, over. If I remember correctly, they're busting out a new movie or something. Or a story, I forget. A sequel. I can't remember right now. Neon Genesis Evangelion got a new movie trilogy and it just ended. Pochikame, the longest running manga since 1976. It ended mid last decade. Maybe 2015, 2016. Toriko also ended. Not to mention all the fucking stories that get canceled. Bakuman, over. Death Note, over. There's a finality in manga that you don't get in the big two. I know I keep reiterating it, but you guys need to just hear this. They need to fucking end. They need to end. My Hero Academia has the spin-off manga Vigilantes. Do you think Vigilantes is going to go on forever? No, it's going to end too. It's going to end. They should always end. Though I think Jujutsu Kaisen, based on how it's being written, I don't think 2 years is good enough. I feel like, but I don't know. I'm not the author, you know. So, yeah. Why do you think... Look, I'm going to make another video on this, but Berserk didn't end for unfortunate reasons. But it was going to end. It was 70% over. Greatest manga of all time. Everyone knows. We need to get a real anime or a live-action adaptation that does it justice. Yes. Yes, yes. Make it happen. Make it happen. Make it happen. So, yes, guys. Yes. Big two American comics need to end. That's their biggest issue. That's why nobody wants to get in on it. Too many crossovers, reboots. Just let them fucking end. Please. For the love of Beerus. Please. Yeah, that was my explanation on why manga's beating them. Not to mention the creativity and such great fucking stories. So many great stories in manga. Top mangas: Vagabond, Monster, Berserk, Vinland Saga, which also has an anime if you'd like to watch season 1. Yeah, Berserk, Bastard, Vagabond, Monster. There's so many other ones. Those are the main ones. Those are the ones that you're always gonna hear. And then, of course, I mentioned the other ones: Yu Yu Hakusho, One Piece, Dragon Ball, Hunter x Hunter, Slam Dunk. And the only reason I'm gonna say, and this is another video coming, Naruto, I'm not gonna recommend because it's just garbage. It's amazing how that's the biggest shonen tragedy ever. The biggest downfall in shonen history. Video coming too on that, besides the Berserk one. Recent Berserk news. So yeah, this has been iVenom. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you opened your eyes. I really hope. Hope you enjoyed the Elden Ring gameplay. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.